This is the ledge we're gonna be working at with a backside crooked grind. All right, so the backside crooked grind. This one is to me, it's one of those ones that it looks really good and it's a lot easier than it looks. A lot of people think it's like a harder trick. In my opinion, it's really not as hard. Sometimes it's easier than a 50-50. The only problem with this trick is it's very likely to fall into nose slide a lot. Now, the footing for nose slide and backside crooked grind, for me, it's the exact same footing as each other. So the only difference of the trick is for a nose slide, you're gonna wanna turn your 90-degree turn. And for a crooked grind, you're kind of wanting to go at it kind of like a wedge almost, and keep your board 45, but your body straight, if that makes any sense to you. To some it may make sense, to me it makes sense, to others it may not make sense. So my footing for the backside crook, I like to have my foot just covering the front bolts, just behind these bolts here for a crooked grind. Because when I pop up and I land in the crooked grind, I want my foot to actually come up to here when I land, so that way I can lock it in and pinch it. As I'm pinched, keep in mind this back foot. My back foot, when I pop it, I'm kind of slightly hanging over the edge a little bit. Now the reason being is because I'm gonna be basically having my foot land on these bolts when I get into the crooked grind. So I will be sitting more like this. Now when I come out of the crooked grind, I'm gonna wanna push it forward. That's basically how you pop out of a crooked grind. You're just not gonna do it as exaggerated. Sort of subtle motion of bringing it back to where you were originally with your footing, which should actually land you on the bolts. For example, as I'm approaching, I'm gonna have my feet about right here. Kind of like a kickflip, just a little bit above. When I pop, I'm gonna wanna slightly turn the board to get like that. If I turn too much, I'm gonna go into nose slide, which isn't a bad thing. It's still a trick. Now the footing, like I said, it's the exact same footing for each trick. For me anyways. It might be different for others, but for me, I put my feet in the exact same spot for nose slide or for crooked grind. The only difference is how high I pop and how much I turn. That's really the biggest difference, is how much I'm turning. So as I'm approaching, I'm gonna pop. I'm basically parallel, slight angle. With a nose slide, I'd be completely straight. With a crooked grind, I'm slightly wedged. It's very, very little. And it's only so I can get it like that. Now, I'll give it a couple shots, a couple angles here to give you a taste of what I mean. Now, although I didn't land that, I'm sure you can see the angle that I approached it at, which was completely fine. I think what screwed me up is the fact that I have the camera where I need to land, so I was sort of focused on that. Let's try that again. As you can see, I have the camera in my landing space. See in the video there, with just the head-on shot, I'm taking the slightest little angle at it. Not completely straight, but just sort of turning into where I want to go. But you don't want to be too angled, because if you're too angled, you're not going to really get the flow of the grind properly. So let's get a couple more shots here. Hopefully it's broken down enough for you to fully understand it and grasp it. So as you can see on that last one there, I went into nose slide, which is super common, especially when you're first learning it. Now, if you are at that stage, you're really like halfway there. A big problem I find is if you have, let's say, new trucks, okay? When I first got this set of Ace trucks, I had to grind in a groove to be able to lock in. Otherwise, I kept going into nose slide regardless. Once you get this groove in your truck here, you'll naturally pinch nearly every time. I would rather my truck's nice and beat up and grooved in. You always got to break in your trucks So that's how you do backside crooked grind. Like I said, your footing, same as a nose slide. If you know how to nose slide, it's just a matter of don't turn 90 degrees. Like I said, feet behind the front bolts there. Basically like a kickflip position. Back foot, sort of half on, half off. That'll give you the, when you pop up, you're gonna basically land like that on the board, and you're gonna tuck it back that way to land the trick. You're gonna shove it forward just a little bit, and you might not even notice that you're doing it, but it'll just happen naturally if you do it the right way. So I hope that helps with you in learning that trick. And it is a scary trick at times. You can really hurt yourself. I've done it on this rail. I have footage of me doing it on the rail here. Am I in the mood to do it on the rail today? Not really. The easy part about this is you only got to worry about locking in one truck, not two. This is why sometimes I find a crooked grind easier than like a 50-50, for example. The 50-50, this ledge backside, for me, would personally be harder because I have to worry about two trucks getting on. I also have to worry about a way bigger ollie. But a crooked grind, the nice thing to remember and keep in mind, it's kind of like what I have explained with a lot of tricks. You see that your nose is basically already at the height that you need to go. You really only need to pop your ollie like a few inches off the ground in order to get that nose on there. Once the nose is on there, you're really just popping a small ollie for it. And what makes this trick easy, I guess that's the other tip that I'll lay out for you, is you don't need a big ollie to do this. In fact, it's actually easier to do this trick on a higher ledge than it is a lower ledge. Like, I cannot do a crooked grind on this little ledge because it's way too small. Like, you almost feel like you're ollieing down, right? As opposed to ollieing up. The higher ledge makes it a little bit easier, so don't just go chase the small little ledge because it's small. Use the science behind it, because if you find something that's basically wheel height, like a ledge like that, you really don't even have to worry about the big ollie. You really don't have to worry about this end. It'll naturally go when you go to pinch. When you go to pinch, this is naturally gonna come up anyways. So it makes it look so cool because you have it like tweaked out. I guess that's really it. You covered your footing. We covered the angle that you want to hit the ledge at. Higher ledges are a little bit easier than lower ledges. You have to have speed for this trick or you're never going to grind. Make sure the ledge is super waxed because it'll help. And here's another good tip. Wax this part of your board. If you wax this part of your board, or whatever side that you're, basically do it on both, because if you're learning front side crooks too, it'll help. But this edge right here, wax the hell out of the edge, and even the nose up here. It's kind of like a cheat code. You know, if you're on a rough, rugged ledge that's just, you're constantly sticking. And it'll also save the edges from getting damaged too much. That's it. That's how you crooked grind. You got this. It's easy. And then you can start learning kickflip crooks and the fun ones. Anyways,